612-470-9810. Again, 612-470-9810.
All right, hello everyone. This is JT Cestkowski with Status Coup live in Minneapolis, where there is a protest against the war in Iran underway right now. I want to thank our partners at the Midas Touch Network for reporting in partnership as we continue to document the resistance on the ground here in the Twin Cities against the Trump administration. I'm going to let you listen in on these speakers.
All right, I'm going to end us with a chant, so get ready for this. It's a new one. We're fired up, won't take it no more. Money for jobs, not for war.
Money for jobs, not for war.
We're fired up, won't take it no more.
Fired up, won't take it no more.
Money for school,
While they do these chants, I'm going to pan the crowd here. See, there's about 100 people who are out here right now.
Money for education, not for war.
Money for housing, not for war.
Money for housing, not for war.
All right, thank you. Have a great day. Let's stop this war.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for Doug! I want to touch on something Doug said here. International Women's Day is tomorrow. Yeah. We should acknowledge that wars have a very negative impact on women and children.
That's right.
The violence on women is horrible. The deprivation of food and medicine, it is, how dare the Trump administration claim that this war is beneficial to women in Iran? Shame! The U.S. airstrikes on Iran were targeting a girls' school. 200 civilians were murdered. It is our shame. It is our responsibility as activists and feminists to not only be intersectional, but to be anti-imperialist.
That's right. That's right.
To be against U.S. control of other countries, of their sovereignty, and of their resources.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So let's keep that in mind as International Women's Day. Not another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
We won't pay for war and slaughter.
Pentagon kills by the hour.
Pentagon kills by the hour.
What we gonna do? Fight the power.
What we gonna do? Fight the power.
Pentagon kills by the hour.
Pentagon kills by the hour.
What we gonna do? Fight the power.
What we gonna do? Fight the power.
All power to the people.
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 Thank you all so much. Next up, we have another speaker, Karina, a member of Asians for Palestine. They are a passionate advocate who provides safety, support, and healing for survivors. Let's give it up for Karina.
Hi everyone, my name is Karina and I'm with Asians for Palestine. I'm here today to stand against the imperial and colonial machine that is the United States. I am here to say no to war. Last weekend, we woke up to the news that the United States government, in conjunction with Israel, bombed a girls' school in Iran. The same way that Israel has targeted and destroyed schools in Gaza over the past few years. The administration has yet to come up with a story that they're all on the same page about. But no matter what they say, we know that this is another war about oil, which is why Venezuela has also been a target. Colonialism and imperialism are pillars of the United States, starting before Trump with Democratic and Republican leaders alike. It is important to understand that the destabilization of countries like Palestine, Cuba, Venezuela, Ecuador, and Iran are all connected to the greater imperialistic agenda of the United States. The U.S. has also regularly been in the Asian continent to determine our people's future and take our natural resources for itself. The majority of Asian Americans living in the United States are here as a direct result of U.S. interference in our home countries. That is why I am calling on everybody, but specifically my fellow Asian Americans, to stand up against the U.S. government, because imperialists will never stop. Toppling Iran is just one step closer to the U.S.'s direct confrontation with China. It is no longer enough to simply resist. We must stand together in class solidarity and recognize our collective power within the U.S. empire. To close out, I'm going to lead us in a chant. Occupation is a crime from Iran to Palestine.
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 Occupation is
As a reminder, the best thing that you can do to support this stream is to share it and like it. Help send a message to the social media algorithms. This is something that people want to see and hear more of.
Folks, this is not just an American problem. We are seeing these things across the world. We need international solidarity now, and we need folks like you to help us keep the fight up and going, because we know that the billionaire class, the politicians, they have a level of organization that we need to not just meet, but we need to beat. So, if you are interested in joining the PSL and continuing, not just accelerating in these streets, but across the country, we have a couple people out here doing outreach. Ella and Alex are in the crowd. If you want to get connected with them, they've got some information from you, because we need you in this fight continuously. Because no war on Iran!
no war on Iran.
No war on Iran!
No war on Iran.
No war on Iran!
No war on Iran.
Not another penny! Not another dollar!
Not another penny. Not another dollar.
No more war and no more slaughter!
No more war and no more slaughter.
Not another penny! Not another dollar!
Not another penny. Not another dollar.
No more war and no more slaughter!
No more war and no more slaughter.
No more war and no more slaughter!
No more war and no more slaughter.
No more war and no more slaughter!
No more war and no more slaughter.
Thank you all, folks. We got one more speaker for you. Give it up for Dr. Christine. A doctor, an activist. She's here to speak some words to you. Give it up.
I'm Dr. Harb. I'm a queer Palestinian Christian. I'm so glad that we brought up International Women's Day, because there's no way that we can talk about Palestine or Iran without talking about women. We say that we are trying to free women from Islamic regimes in Gaza and Iran. And then, as other speakers have said, we proceed to bomb a school and kill over 150 schoolgirls. We are funding the genocide of hundreds of thousands of women in Gaza, giving weapons to an apartheid state that bombed a healthcare system to dust, leaving tens of thousands of pregnant mothers to labor in rubble. How can we say that killing the future of a country is about saving women? How can we say that we fight for women while our country strips us of our right to own our bodies? How can we say that we fight for women when our government has removed the word woman and female and gender from federal documents, websites, and grants? How can we say that we fight for women when there's undeniable proof that our politicians and leaders are sex trafficking, raping, and molesting little girls? In the United States, Women and girls are owned but not named. We are only visible when we are propping up systems of power or when we are used as leverage to manufacture consent for slaughter. We say that we are pro-democracy. We are the United States of America, a colony that liberated itself from a British monarchy. But we planned a coup to overthrow an Iranian democracy in 1953 and are now trying to establish a monarchy in Iran for the second time. No matter what the United States and Israel tell you about their intentions to free the Iranian people, we all know that you cannot bomb a country into liberation. And we all know that they don't care who's in charge as long as Iran's leaders capitulate to imperialist interests. Iran's revolution belongs to its people. But the United States and Israel are orchestrating what is ultimately another coup. This isn't about women or liberation. This is about power. The U.S. has been strangling Iran's economy with illegal sanctions to punish them for pushing back against empire since 1979. These attacks on Iran right now are the perfect opportunity for the U.S. to finally take full control of Iran's oil, as was mentioned before. All of this is illegal, just as illegal as when we bombed Venezuela and kidnapped their president so we could get access for oil. And we know all of this is unprecedented. We know that what Israel wants is to establish itself as the most powerful nuclear force in Southwest Asia in its attempts to expand into Greater Israel. Besides attacking Iran, we must talk about Lebanon. Israel is decimating Lebanon, with Israeli politicians boasting that they plan to turn it into Gaza. Experts have warned us that what we allowed in Gaza will set the standard of what we can do to each other. And look at where we are now. International law has collapsed because these international systems function to prop up the political and economic interests of the imperial West. We now live in a world where legal process and accountability are figments of our imagination. The law does not protect us. But you know what does protect us? We do. We can protect us. We know we can because we just did it when ICE was in our streets and we are still doing it now. Do not underestimate our power. Do not forget that this country runs on our labor. We decide how the story ends. Ramzia, wife of a fallen Palestinian martyr, once wrote, "Embrace the earth whence you came and melt into the eternity of Palestine so that her soil may be further nourished by the blood of martyrs and heroes. You live because the revolution will live. Let us globalize this revolution. Let us uproot this empire and plant it in its grave so that it may nourish the soil our descendants inherit. And let us ensure that those who have been martyred at the hands of this empire live on in the struggle for our collective liberation." Repeat after me. We the people have the power.
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 Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Christine Hart. Dr. Christine Hart brought up a very good point that the U.S. does not have any right to lecture anyone on democracy or human rights. Not when they bombed a children's school, and especially not when ICE was out here kidnapping people and killing protesters in broad daylight. Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
Who keeps us safe?
We keep us safe.
That's right. Not another penny, not another dollar.
Not another penny, not another dollar.
We want No war on Iran!
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 Good afternoon, Minneapolis. Thank you so much for being here. As people of conscience, we are mobilizing, not just here in Minneapolis, but also across the state of Minnesota to say no war on Iran. Because we have learned from the lessons of history. We remember Vietnam. We remember Iraq. We remember all the times they have lied to us to say that endless war is in our interest. What do we say to that? Exactly, we say no. We see through the lies. Who benefits from war? It's the billionaire class who benefits from this war. It is our children, our relatives, and our family members who go overseas to die, not their children. That is exactly why they spread these lies, because they want us to consent to endless war and bloodshed of our own class while their pockets get fatter and fatter and they pay absolutely no price. This war, the trillions of dollars that are going to be spent on this war, the trillions of dollars that Donald Trump is asking to be increased for a budget to bomb children, for a budget to destroy families and ruin lives, those dollars should be spent here at home. Because we are seeing the gutting of Medicaid, we are seeing the gutting of SNAP, we are seeing the gutting of funding to public schools. This war that is being carried out abroad is also a war on the working class at home. How dare they say that the wealth that we produce as workers should be sent to slaughter children when children in this country go hungry. When children in this country are terrorized and detained and deported by ICE. How dare these politicians ask us to spend the money that we create to spread suffering and bloodshed? Exactly. That is the significance of this anti-war movement. We mobilize not simply because we are people of conscience, but because we understand that since we create all of the wealth in this country, we should be the people who have a say in how it is run. Because we want money for schools. We want money for jobs. We want money for health care. We do not want money for an endless war. We refuse to pay for a rich man's war. What we need is prosperity at home. And we as the people of Minnesota, we know that we can bring this administration to heel. Kristi Noem was just fired. That would not have happened without us mobilizing in the streets, going on a general strike on the 23rd, going on a general strike on the 30th. It is because we have the power, and we know we have the power to shut down society. Because we make society run. And that's exactly why we need to continue to mobilize in opposition to this war. This war affects every single one of us. It is our tax dollars who are spent on those bombs. It is our tax dollars that are spent to send our own children overseas to die. So how is it that this administration and this entire system is allowed to make these kinds of decisions and we have no say? This war is so unpopular. Nobody wants this war, and yet we are standing on the precipice of potentially a disastrous global war. But we have also seen that the U.S. war machine can be fought back against.
We saw it with Vietnam when a heroic anti-war movement rose up across the country and swept across the world. And that is exactly what our task is here today. What we are saying no to is no to endless war, no to endless conflict in the Middle East, which only happens because they want control over the oil. Because the United States government can't stand to see a single resource-rich country operate independently. Shame indeed. All countries deserve sovereignty. They have the right to determine their own fates. And that's what we are standing up here against. It is not our business. It is not our responsibility to meddle in the affairs of the people of Iran, to meddle in the affairs of any other nation, whether it's Venezuela, whether it is Cuba, whether it is Syria. It is our responsibility to address the deep issues that face our own people here in the belly of the beast. Money for jobs and education.
Money for jobs and education.
Not for war and deportation.
Not for war and deportation.
Money for jobs and education.
Money for jobs and education.
Not for war and deportation.
Not for war and deportation.
Money for jobs and education.
Money for jobs and education.
Not for war and deportation.
Not for war and deportation.
We stand on the precipice of a brand new anti-war movement that can revitalize the sense of conscience in this country that we so deeply need. We know that we stand with the working class across the world. That is who we fight with. We do not fight for billionaires. We refuse to die for their wars.
Give it up for Naomi! Powerful words from Naomi here, and we gotta listen to those words, folks, because this fight just starts now. As she was saying, we're on the precipice of another anti-war movement that could really take this administration on. Folks, if you were here in the month of January, did you shut it down on the 23rd? Did you shut it down on the 30th? We have that power, folks, and we can do it again, and we will do it again and again and again until we get justice for those who died. We get fully funded schools, we get free health care, and all the other things that we need as a population, not just to survive, but to thrive. Is that right?
Yeah!
No war on Iran!
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 No more bombing, no more war!
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 Folks, we need you in this fight. You are being loud today. We need you to continue staying loud and active in the streets. If you have the ability, join the organization. We have people here, Alex and Ala, doing some outreach that gets you plugged in and connected. Because again, we showed them our power in January. We're going to continue showing them our power today and forward. Is that right?
Yeah!
So when I say these things that need to be handled, you say shut it down, okay? Trump lies.
Shut it down!
Bombing civilians.
Shut it down!
War in Iran.
Shut it down!
Aid to Israel.
Shut it down!
Weapons profits.
Shut it down!
Oil profits.
Shut it down!
Endless war.
Shut it down!
The whole damn system.
Shut it down!
Shut it down.
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 Shut it down!
Make some noise, folks. Thank you so much. We've got another action this Tuesday. I want to let you know, put on by MPAC at Amy Klobuchar's office. Program starts at 5, chanting at 4:30. That's Tuesday, March 10th. Again, if you can, show up and show out as much as you can, because they need to hear it from us. They won't listen unless we tell them. Is that right? Yeah. Shut it down.
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 Make some noise, Minneapolis! Thank you so much for being here. Again, if you need to get plugged in, we've got people here for you, Alex and Alla. But please keep showing up with us, because we need you, Iran needs you, and that's how we're going to make these things happen. Is that right, folks? Yeah. Thank you so much for coming out here. We hope to see you again very, very soon.
All right, things are kind of wrapping up to a close here on the demonstration part of this event. I want to go around and talk to some of the actual demonstrators themselves before they all clear out. And while I am finding those interviews, I want to take this moment to just point out the fact that we are still on the ground in Minneapolis now. Weeks and weeks after so much of the national press has left, we have been the leading on-the-ground outlet, national outlet here in the Twin Cities area at great expense to our organization. If that work is important to you, please go to statuscoup.com/join. For as low as $5 a month, you go to support our on-the-ground shoe leather journalism. Pardon me, I'm looking for your press contact, your media contact.
Oh, really? Yes, absolutely. Let me go get her. I will be right back.
Oh, I'm also, maybe you can just help me. I'm looking for that first speaker who was up, who was talking about how he has family in there.
Oh, yeah. Might have left. Let me find him.
Thank you. Pardon me, folks. I'm a reporter. I'm interviewing people about why they wanted to be out at the demonstration today. Would you guys mind if I interviewed you?
Yeah, I'm going to direct you to our media person.
Who's MIA? I was just looking for her.
Yeah, she's... Naomi, yeah.
The very first speaker is in that group over there, and I'll find Naomi and ask her to find you.
Where is he?
The group with the flags. He's got the hood up.
Got the hood up. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What was his name? Naveed.
I don't even like this.
Apologies. My name's JT. I'm a reporter with Status Coup. Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Would you mind if I interviewed you really quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let's. I'm actually going to have you pivot around so you're kind of looking into the sun a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how do you pronounce your name?
Naveen Borojarty.
Naveen. Just a minute here to get the camera all sorted. Go back just a step. I can get you to take a...
Absolutely.
Clip this here on the edge of your coat.
There we go.
Naveen, can I have you start just spell your name for me?
Sure. My name is Naveen Borojarty. That is Naveen, last name Borojerdi.
You were talking during your speech about having family in Iran. Can you just walk me through what that's been like in this moment?
Yeah. So most of my family these days that is still alive. Unfortunately, a lot of the older members of my family have passed away. All my grandparents are gone and buried in the soil in Tehran, for example. But the family that I do have that's still around, they are all living in the Tehran and Karaj neighborhoods, or cities. The Tehran and Karaj cities. They're basically twin cities that are kind of like Minneapolis, St. Paul, kind of here, similar, but also kind of different situation. Similar in the sense of like, there's a back and forth sort of like commuter group of people. Some people will live in Karaj and work in Tehran, like my cousin. He has a office in Tehran with his architectural firm, but he lives in Karaj. And similarly, some people live in Karaj or Tehran and they work in Karaj and go back and forth. And kind of similar to Minneapolis, St. Paul here. So basically, from what I understand, my mom has been in contact with our family in Iran. She says that everyone is okay for now, but the bombs are constantly dropping on their cities. They're hitting many cities in Iran, but especially those two cities, Tehran and Karaj. And for example, one of my cousin Sudi, who lives in Karaj, they hit like a building or something basically on her block. I think it might have been like one of the buildings or something like that, government building. I don't exactly know what it was, but essentially the impact of it was felt in every residential area and every building in the neighborhood of where the bomb was dropped, and the proximity of it was basically shaking. So that's how close like our families are to the bombing, to the targets that they're bombing.
With them being in such close proximity, I mean, what's the emotion inside of you, like when you see like the images on the news, that sort of thing? And I mean, maybe it's like the family is, I don't know how close you are to any of them. Maybe you're not particularly close at all, but just the knowledge that your tax dollars are going to bombing, family members overseas.
Yeah, it is a wild experience as an Iranian American for the president of my country to bomb the cities of where my family is living and basically striking the soil that all four of my grandparents, who I was very close to, are buried under with my tax dollars. Very, very strange. And it's not an experience that I would really, wish upon anybody. So it's wrong. I'm opposed to it. I'm opposed to my country bombing my family's home country, and I'm opposed to, I'm opposed to my tax dollars paying for it. So
during the demonstration, we saw there was like a vehicle that I saw drive by that was flying the flag of Iran from when it was under the Shah, and hearing some like folks around the demonstration like yelling out, not nearly as numerous as who was actually in the demonstration, I should point out, but people who were still like screaming out like "Thank you, Trump." What's your message to people who are feeling like any sort of sense of like gratitude to this administration for their actions of like attacking the Iranian state and Iranian leadership? Yeah. I tried to have a good faith conversation with that guy, even though I disagreed with him. He didn't really seem too receptive to what I was telling him. But my message to the people who are cheering this on, unfortunately, many of our fellow diaspora, Iranians are unfortunately cheering this on and celebrating Trump and Netanyahu bombing Iran. Basically, the message that I have to them is just we have to look at history. We have to look at especially the last 25 years of history in the Middle East. I was a kid when the Bush administration made the decision to go in and invade Iraq and to basically overthrow the government of Saddam Hussein for basically oil, right? And you look at the state of Iraq now. The state of Iraq is in every way worse off than it was under Saddam, to the point that it's like, Iraqis are actually saying, even some of the people who went and tore Saddam's statue down in 2003 would later come back and say, now I miss it. And unfortunately, as bad as things are in Iran right now, and the situation has just been getting worse and worse. It never gets better. You can't change a government by dropping bombs. Dropping bombs is not going to get people to rise up like Trump is saying and overthrow the government that people think it is. What is only going to happen, and what we're seeing in Iran right now, is what we saw happen in Iran in 1980s during the war with Iraq. Everybody is rallying around the flag. And that's how our people have basically fought these wars throughout history and survived. We've survived for thousands of years because in times of distress and whatever, we know how to unite together. So I don't know where people are getting this delusional idea that
Trump dropping bombs and Netanyahu dropping bombs on Iran is going to save us.
In recent days, we've seen reporting come out from NBC News and a few other outlets that President Trump has at least discussed the idea of putting troops on the ground in Iran. Where do you see this leading if the U.S. does take that step? Like, you were drawing the direct parallels to Iraq. I mean, do you see, like, are we on that trajectory in your eyes?
They're trying. The thing is like, Trump is flirting with the option, right? He said he doesn't rule it out. But also they're playing around with different things that we've seen in these conflicts, especially in Syria, in trying to play off ethnic tensions, whether it's with the Kurds or it's with the government of Azerbaijan, it seems, who, if you've been following the news, Azerbaijan and the government of Iran have been exchanging back and forth heated sort of like messages to each other. But it's like it's either going to go in one of those two directions. It's either boots on the ground, and I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong. It's either going to, but it seems like in the direction it's headed, it's either going to be U.S. boots on the ground, or it's going to be, like ethnic sort of like separatist groups who maybe have their own views and problems with the government, whether they're Pan-Turk or Kurd or something like that, in the ground like we saw in Syria. And in either direction, Iran has stated that they're ready for it. And if American troops do go into the ground, they're going to become, a lot of American families are going to see their loved ones come home in body bags. And if they do play those proxy games of playing off ethnic tensions, it's just going to get much worse, and it's going to be a very bloody, unfortunately terrible conflict.
Even if the administration seems to be refusing to learn the lessons of the Iraq War, I think it's hard to deny that the American people seem to have learned those lessons. A lot of polling about this war, when it should be at like its most popular point that it is ever likely to be right now at the outset of the conflict, when the U.S. can notch some easy wins through its air war. Even then, the war is polling like abysmally unpopular. You're seeing demonstrations across the country today.
Yeah.
Our outlet was just live in New York City before we came live here in Minneapolis. When you see that broad-based resistance to what the Trump administration is doing in the Middle East, what's the feelings that come up inside of you? I mean, are you heartened by this?
It's feelings of hope. I think, yeah, it seems like, especially if we look at the way that the Bush administration sold the war on Iraq to the public, and if we look at like now, back then Colin Powell went to the United Nations and he said, we have reasons to believe that Saddam has WMDs, and he's like, we've got to liberate the Iraqi people. They used to have to do so much more to get people and sell the war on board. Now, basically, what we are seeing from this administration is that they're gaslighting the American people. They're saying, and they're basically like, they started the war, then they say, oh, we're not in a war. This isn't a war, this is a military operation. Or they say that Iran started this war. Iran is waging war on us. We're not waging war. We're not at war. And basically they're having a much more difficult time selling this war to the public, which seems like the U.S. empire is truly in decline. And hopefully, as we see, just all of the tricks fail, and especially in the span of this week, how much it's just failed compared to like if this was 2003, it absolutely is a optimistic time. It does give me hope for the future.
We've heard a lot of reporting, at least in the news, about like what has happened to gas prices since the outset of this war. And I mean, tariffs were already having an impact on prices, but this war is likely to increase prices even further. I'm just curious if in your day-to-day life you're seeing any of those economic impacts of the war, and if so, what are they?
Yeah, actually. So I filled up my tank of gas here in Minneapolis, St. Paul, last week before this war started. Gas prices were $2.79. Now I go around and I look at the gas stations in my neighborhood, and the price has skyrocketed to 60 cents. Right now it's $3.39 a gallon for unleaded gasoline. At the rate at which we're going, it's only going to continue to skyrocket. And what I'm hearing is a lot of my friends, are actually thinking of ditching their cars more and becoming less reliant on cars to go onto bike. And honestly, I might be doing that too to save money. Like, I might just my bike is right now like not exactly there's some problems with it. I got to probably fix the tubing, but I'm thinking of just like fixing up my bike now and just like riding my bike around a lot more. And when I can, in the times when it's not like super snowy here in Minneapolis, St. Paul.
I mean, you're talking about like riding your bike in March.
Yeah.
And I just want to tell people at home, like, it is not warm. It's a lot warmer than it was in January, but it is not warm out here. It's just above freezing right now. So,
yeah.
like, are there any other impacts of this war that you are tracking right now, or that you are concerned about in the near to middle future? Beyond what we've discussed already.
Well, the thing that I honestly, as we are seeing right now, where they're hitting in Iran, I think about, because one of the things I've always wanted to do is it's been a while since I've been back to Iran. I've always wanted to go back to Iran, visit family. It's been maybe 15, 16 years since I've seen some of these people who live in Iran, right? And, when I think about, like, after all this is all done and the next time I go back to Iran, it seems like there's going to be a lot of stuff that's destroyed, which is unfortunately very sad. They hit, Azadi Stadium, which is a football stadium where, like, the two best teams in Iran, Persepolis and Istiklal, like, train and they play a game. I'm a soccer fan, so they play, like, the Tehran Derby there every year, and it's like, it looks like that's destroyed. They destroyed Mehrabad Airport, so that's one of the main airports in Iran, and it's like the other one being Imam Khomeini in Tehran. And it's like, I think about that a lot. It's like, how much is going to be destroyed at the end of this, like we've seen in so many places, especially in that region?
I want to end just by at least acknowledging where we're standing right now, which is Minneapolis, which has been the subject of its own federal occupation through federal law enforcement. Not like Iran, where thankfully bombs never fell from the sky here, but now perhaps that country is also preparing for an occupation, an American occupation of its own. I'm just curious, what do you think these campaigns, both abroad that we've seen in Iran, Venezuela, and potentially in Cuba shortly, and then the domestic campaign of occupations on cities here in the United States, what does it say about this administration's outlook on maybe even just like humanity?
It says, what it tells me is that this administration is trying to basically build imperial power when it's clearly declining. They're still in this, and especially like with Iran, right? Because let's be honest, the fight of ICE against ICE in Minneapolis is directly tied to the fight globally, especially like these people who they're going after and deporting here in the Twin Cities and elsewhere across the country and sending back home. A lot of people came here because of U.S. policy, because of U.S. foreign policy in their meddling in their countries. That's what drives people here. And basically, like, the administration is basically trying to rebuild what it was what would be maybe claimed like the glory of the American empire, but it's clearly failing because nobody wants this war. There's increased opposition, especially here in the Twin Cities, to ICE, and it's just basically going on and going and going, and it keeps going. But ultimately, the whole thing is going to crumble. It's not sustainable what they're doing. It's just it's a question of like how many people are going to get hurt in the span of it.
Anything else you want to add while you have the platform?
I think that we've touched on everything that I was thinking.
Yeah, I asked you even more questions than I intended, which is always my problem. But thank you for being game for it, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for interviewing.
I'll steal that microphone back from you, and then I want to trade you. I want to give you my card. I want to be in touch a little bit about any of the other advocacy work that you're doing, or even just to hear about how your family's doing down the line. I might shoot me a text. I'd love to follow up with you. That's
absolutely, JT. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for interviewing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you're based here in the Twin Cities, right?
I'm not actually. Well, it feels like it. I've been down the ground here for months now, but I'm in Wisconsin, so not too far.
Not too far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah. No, thank you. And I'm glad that Status Coup exists. I think you guys do incredible work. kind of challenging corporate narratives and all that sort of stuff. And I'm glad that we got to speak today.
I should have left the microphone on you for that little testimonial. Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate it.
Cool.
Thanks, dude.
Take care.
Okay, guys, I'm actually going to step in front of the camera here for just a second because I want to stress something. And that is the fact that he just thought that I was based here in the Twin Cities because we have been on the ground here so much. And we were on the ground here from when Operation Midway Blitz, the Trump administration's occupation here of the Twin Cities area, got underway back in early December. Since the earliest days of that operation, we were on the ground here. And actually, the first ever live we did as part of our on-the-ground effort here in the Twin Cities area, I was standing here in this exact park at a anti-war protest that was very similar to this one. That one was urging the U.S. not to go to war with Venezuela. That was just back in December. It's now March. We're still talking about wars, about foreign entanglements. We're still doing this. We're still doing this because the administration has put itself in another war in just a few months, where it is now bombing the hell out of a country in the Middle East. Stop me if you've heard this one before. As a United States citizen, your country bringing you into war in the Middle East. A war for oil, a war ultimately for corporate interests in a neoconservative project that has been underway in the United States now for decades. For decades. I'm stressing all of this, kind of drawing that full circle moment there, from when we were first live here in this park back in December to now, because this administration has continued on the same tactics. And just in the same way that its preoccupation with getting America involved in foreign entanglements has continued, so has its domestic campaign of terror here in the Twin Cities area. How much are you hearing about Minneapolis in the national press right now? I bet it's a lot less than back when Renee Good and Alex Preddy were killed back in January. But I want to point out that the occupation here has been ongoing for months. The whole reason that I am here right now is because I came up here to meet with some sources to talk about how Minneapolis is still, the Twin Cities area is still dealing with the fallout of ICE's occupation here, and how many of those operations have just shifted out of Minneapolis, where there was so much resistance to what they were doing, and into the suburbs where it could be more easily ignored or harder to respond to because people are not living as closely, don't know their neighbors as well. And so that reign of terror could continue out in the suburbs and never actually come to a definitive end the way a lot of media tried to portray it, because that's the way the Trump administration spun it. We don't swallow any of that just blatant propaganda here at Status Coup, because we stay on the ground and stay with these stories. We don't need to just take the administration's word for it, and we would never do that. And we can do that because we're not beholden to corporate interests. We're beholden to our members who support us $5 at a time, racking and helping us cover the immense expenses, the $15,000 a month it costs us to be on the ground in these cities. If you want to be a part of that movement, I would be so appreciative. Our entire team here at Status Coup would be so appreciative. Please go to statuscoup.com/join. I would very much welcome your support to help keep me on the ground reporting on these stories. And if you can't support us financially, at least get subscribed. Those stories that I said that I was up here working on, those are going to be coming out on our YouTube channel very shortly. I would love for you to see the journalism that I am working so hard on here with your support. Please get subscribed. We would very much appreciate that. I want to point out that this park has pretty much cleared out at this point, so I'm actually going to bring the stream here to an end. But before I do, I want to thank our partners at the Midas Touch Network who help give us their platform to do a lot of this reporting. We couldn't have done nearly as much as we did here over the last several months if we did not have that partnership. I want to thank the other independent media here in the Twin Cities area that has been so supportive. Standing just off camera here is Andrew Mercado, who has been such a resource to us here at Status Coup. You've probably seen him now also co-streaming on our platform. We're thankful to him for that, and to all of the independent journalists who we have partnered with here over the last several months. We would not have been able to cover a lot of these stories without their support. And I want to thank our members, of course, as well. So on behalf of me, on behalf of our entire team at Status Coup, and behalf of our partners at the Midas Touch Network, thank you so much for tuning in, and please stay safe. And until next time, I'm JT Cestkowski in Minneapolis. Good night.